Welcome everyone to this new Greytalk. We have a very special session today. The title is Women as Peace Builders. And we are delighted to have with us Vivian Silver, social change war activist, Women Wage Peace, Marwa Hammad, Fundraising Coordinator for the Palestinian peace organization Women of the Sun, and Hyam Tannous, Arab Christian counselor and guidance therapist, Women Wage Peace. Guluma, who organized all this, will make the presentation and introduction of the subject. So please, Esther, the floor is yours.
The UN is committed to maintaining international peace, but as we all know, this commitment is one of the most difficult one to uphold. We have seen it for many years in the Middle East and recently in Ukraine. And recognizing this difficulty, the UN Security Council Resolution 1325 on women, peace and security was adopted unanimously by the UN Security Council on the 31st of October 2000. And the resolution addresses the impact of war on women and the importance of women's full participation in conflict resolution, peace building, peacekeeping, humanitarian response, and post-conflict reconstruction. So there is a recognition now that the participation of women in the prevention and in the resolution of conflict is a key, the most important one, to the success of peace building. Clearly, women need to be equally represented in decision-making, which is related to peace. However, our governments and maybe even donor institutions everywhere are still very much men-dominated. Therefore, women cannot build peace without the men and without the commitment of the men. So the question we asked ourselves is whether there is enough political will to do so, to include women in peace building in a male-dominated government. The presenters today will tell us how they're tackling these issues and what are their peace building effort in the context of the resolution 1325. So maybe Alejandro, if you can tell us just a little bit briefly about each of the three presenters, then we can start the talk.
Yes, thank you very much, Esther, indeed. Vivian Silver has been active in social change work for the past 6 decades. First in her native city, Winnipeg, then New York, and since 1974 in Israel. She's driven by 3 burning issues: advancing peace in the Middle East, feminism, and creating a shared society between Jews and Arabs in Israel. Vivian founded the Department Promoting Gender Equality in the United Kibbutz Movement, was a member of the Kibbutz Movement Secretariat, and is active in the Israel Women's Network. Vivian has been active in the Israeli movement Women Wage Peace since its inception in 2014. She is a board member of Ajik Nisped and is on the directorate of the only women's gym in the Bedouin city of Rahat. She also volunteers for Road to Recovery, driving cancer patients from Gaza to hospitals in Israel. Vivian is a member of Kibbutz Be'eri, bordering the Gaza Strip. Marwa Hammad is the fundraising coordinator for the Palestinian peace organization Women of the Sun. Marwa has a Bachelor of Arts in Business Administration and Marketing from Bethlehem University and was previously employed by Al Rawad Cultural Center and by UNRWA. Marwa is a big believer in women and peace and is convinced that women do groundbreaking work for justice, peace, and security. Yet, they continue to be sidelined in formal peace processes. As conflict continues to affect every region in Palestine, Marwa is convinced that urgent action is needed to ensure that women are part of peace building and their contributions are visible and valued. And finally, Hyam Tannous is an Arab Christian woman, counseling and guidance therapy from 1997 and 2017. From 2000 to 2016, she was head of a nonviolence committee at all the Jewish and Arab schools in the north of Israel. Her love, belief, and concern both for the Palestinians and the Jewish state of Israel brought her to be an active member of promoting dialogues between the Jewish and Palestinian people, including the Palestinian Authority. Several activities took place at the Golda Meir Center in Haifa with the assistance of the Ministry of Education. 300 Palestinian women from the West Bank took part in 6 seminars for 2 years to bring light and hope to both sides. In 2016, she became a member of Women Page Peace. You're all welcome, and please go ahead, Esther.
Thank you. Vivian, maybe we can start with you, if you can tell us a little bit briefly about your organization, Women Wage Peace, why it was created, and what were the main achievements.
Thank you, Esther, and thank you all. This is a wonderful opportunity for us to tell you about the work that we're doing. It sometimes can get very lonely in our field in this very tempestuous environment in the Middle East. So first of all, Women Wage Peace was founded in 2014 in the aftermath of the 2014 war in Gaza, which was named Protective Edge. It was the third war in a period of 2 years, and unfortunately there have been many since then. But that was the war that finally motivated women from all over the country, and not just from the area bordering the Gaza Strip, motivated women from all over the country, most of whom had not been politically active in the past. And they came together and founded a women's peace movement. The idea was to change the 70-year-old paradigm that we have been fed over and over again, that only war could bring peace. And we believe there's a more logical paradigm that espouses only a political agreement can achieve security for peoples in both sides of the conflict. We're a non-hierarchical, pragmatic, women-led movement, numbering today over 45,000 Israelis united across all traditional dividing lines. We're Jewish and Arab, we're religious and secular. We're spread across the country from the right, left, and center of the political spectrum. The right wing accuses us of being a left-wing movement. The left wing criticizes us for being naive and not taking a clear political leftist stance. Our strategy is to focus on the existential necessity to reach a political agreement, as opposed to advocating for any specific peace plan. We work bottom up and top down. You may be interested in hearing of some of our successes, so I will launch right into them. First of all, we're the largest civil society peace movement in Israel. We engage with the public through mass rallies and marches, while engaging with decision makers through our weekly presence in the Knesset. Dressed in uniform, white shirts and turquoise scarves, attending the Knesset plenum, Knesset committee meetings, and holding meetings with individual Knesset members. We organized an international congress for 1,000 participants on the theme Removing Barriers to Middle East Peace, specifically targeted to younger people, not us with the gray hair. We hold election patrols prior to each national election. And sadly, I have to say to you, if you don't know, in 2 weeks will be our 5th election in the last 4 years. We have these patrols in order to make sure that the issue of a political agreement is on each party's political agenda. And if not, we ask them why. We formulated a political alternatives first bill for passage in the Knesset. It hasn't been passed yet because we haven't had a Knesset in power long enough for it to be passed. Hopefully the coming one will do it. It means that the cabinet will be obligated to examine political alternatives that they have studied on an ongoing basis before declaring war. Two more points I want to make. The Knesset members from the right, center, and left have gone on record thanking us for returning the words hope and peace to the national discourse. And finally, achieving the trust of Palestinian women, which is no small matter, who have become our sister movement in Palestine, but I'll let Marwa talk about that.
Thank you, Vivian. Hyam, would you like to add to that? Because you are in Women Wage Peace as well, but you are sort of a bridge to the Women of the Sun. Can you add,
Yeah.
please?
Good evening to everyone. I'm really very thrilled to be in this Zoom tonight. I would like, first of all, I liked what Vivian said. She talked about everything, but I am a Palestinian Israeli woman. I think that we as Palestinian Israeli women, we have a role, a role we have to play in this on all this game, because as Palestinian Israeli women, we know we know the two cultures, we know the two languages, we know the two narratives, we know the two attitudes, the two mentalities. I always said that I have one Palestinian shoulder and one Israeli shoulder. It's not easy to be like that, but I think because as I said before, I feel that really we can do something. We can help our leaders to see us as mothers, as women who are going to give everything in order to that their kids would live. Sure, my sons don't go to the war, to the army, because I am not a Jew, but I feel that every woman or everyone, my friends who have sons, I'm so scared that something happens to them. On the other side, I'm so scared that something will happen to my Palestinian sisters. So living in this dreadful feeling that, oh my God, what's going to happen, made me that I have to do everything in order to bring them together. And this is how the idea of, okay, we need Palestinian sisters in order that we can do something, we can play alone. And this is how really it wasn't easy for 3 years. We met with wonderful Palestinian women. We sat together, we cried together, we wept together, and we said at the end, we have nothing else to do, just to be together in order to end this bloody conflict. And this is how we sat for I think many months, and we wrote a document which say that document of the call of the mothers. For it, we said that 4 million mothers has to say enough, let our children live. And this is how we came to work with this document. And on the 25th of March, together we launched this call, and now it's everywhere. Everyone who reads this document, we say the call of 4 million mothers, we say enough, we want to give life to our children, is signed everywhere. And we are going to continue working in order that we women who were sitting for years on a wheelchair, and we have everything to be and to help in the decision making. I think this is our time to stand up, to take our hands together and to say, Palestinian women, Israeli women, Arab women want to change the situation, who is just giving us just violence. And you know what's happening every day. We have more and more violence because nobody said that if we help and influence our leaders to have an agreement, mutual, respectful for both sides, I think everything will change. And we have the opportunity that here in Israel, our neighbors and all the Middle East will have an Eden here, a Garden of Eden, if really we think otherwise. And yes, this is what I think.
Thank you. Marwa, are you there? Marwa?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. Marwa, can you tell us a little bit about Women of the Sun and why that organization was created?
Okay. First of all, we thank you for letting me joining in this Zoom. So I really appreciate it to raise our Palestinian women voice to the world. The movement is new. We started in July 2021, but we are raising very quickly because there are many Palestinian women that believes in participating in the political life of Palestine due to the conflict that we are having in the area. Of course, we are having a lot of women from all walks of life and segments of Palestinian society and aims to participate and complement of the struggle. Palestinian society and aims, we are want to move forward to achieve our goals in the society through political and economic, to have the women have their own economic development and to be independent in order to have the family controlled by the woman, because we believe that woman is the most important person in the family and in the society. And if you work with the woman, you work with all the children and all the family. And that's why we collect many women, and there are many women that believes in what we are working with and start working with us. And we hope in the future that we have more projects to develop the women economically and politically due to move in the peace building process. Because if you want to achieve the peace, you need to work through it. You need to teach people to improve them in order to achieve that. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Marwa. Yes, I mean,
Thank you.
now that leads us nicely to perhaps the second issue that we want to tackle. You talked about how important women are. So maybe again, we go back to you, Vivian. How do you see the role of the women in your movement? Are they mediators? Are they, you want women to be signatories to agreements? Or do you see them as background influencers at the grassroots level? What is it that women can do better when it comes to working for peace? Vivian.
Well, I want to say that Ambassador Swanee Hunt and her Institute for Inclusive Security in America have helped guide our views that the main advantage of having women as participants in formal negotiations for peace in the Middle East is how we broaden the definition, the very definition of security. Inclusive security is a framework that places social and economic concerns on equal footing with military and political issues. Mm-hmm. So here I want to quote an axiom that Abraham Maslow came up with. He said, if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. So looking at security only through the lens of the military means the only way to reach security is through military might. Well, we women tend to have a more holistic view of security, which embraces not only political sovereignty and military strength, but also economic security, education, health and welfare, and personal security. What is it that women can do better than men? Well, first of all, I want to make clear that we're not only seeking to reach equality in numbers, even though that would be the obvious, just way to reach equal representation. But it's also important that the women who play a role in negotiations are women with a feminist perspective, who are less likely to play the zero-sum game and more likely be able to compromise in a win-win manner. So we in Women Wage Peace are developing a new language, enabling women across all traditional boundaries to join us. We don't engage in blaming and shaming, and our public responses always take into account the full spectrum of our members. allowing us to be an inclusive movement, a movement that is growing and growing. And we hope that once we reach a critical mass, we will be able to influence and impact the direction that our elected leaders take. Because at this point, we still have a lot of work to do, both in bringing peace, but both in terms of having women related to as equal and potential and equal partners.
Thank you, Vivian. Hyam, what would you like to add to this question of women and what they bring to the table?
I would like to add at what Vivian has just said, that our movement really works to raise awareness and engage the public in discussion about the feasibility of a political resolution. But I think it's not enough. We are doing all our best because we are now 50,000 women, but we would like to arrive to 1,000 women. And it's not easy. We are doing really our best. Last month, the month of September, we had all along the month, we had demonstrations, and we had plenty of meetings and events in order to awake more and more and more women. And it happens. Women are being awake. For my misfortune, most of the women, I don't say most of the women, they don't know what force they have in order to change. They don't have what capability they have to change and what responsibility they have in order to change. And what we are doing just now is that organizing national events, attending all these events makes us feel, and we saw it in September this month, that really something is happening. We saw that women are coming. Women are becoming to see their role in changing, in playing, and changing the game. And this is what I think that we are going to do, and what also we have to do more and more. I think we have a lot also to do, but we are on the right way. We are arising with the women. The women are feeling their own responsibility, and I think that if really we will arrive to 100,000 women as in Liberia, and we are going to tell our youth, hey, come on. Now you have to change. You have to bring us life, because we want our children to live. I think we are influential, and I think we are going to change. Really, maybe it took us time, 8 years, but now with our Palestinian partners who are doing their best to change also the feelings and attitude and mentality of their sisters over there, I think we are on the right path.
Thanks, Hyam. Marwa, I know Women of the Sun as an organization is still young, but do you feel that women have already begun to change and to comprehend how they can influence the process?
Yeah, I think that the resolution points out that women experience the conflict different from women, and this requires, I think, tailored attention and expertise to work through it. So I think that today most conflicts are intrastate rather than interstate. So we think that we should focus on the civilians, not that affects women and children, not focusing on the total. So the focus should therefore shift from the security of states to the security of the population, including human security. And the resolution also recognizes women as actors who can provide important resources and powerful voices of peace for the prevention and resolution of conflicts, stressing the critical role that women can and already do play in peace-building efforts. The involvement of women represents a benefit not only for women themselves, but for the society as a whole. The resolution urges, therefore, all actors to increase the participation of women and incorporate gender perspective in all United Nations peace and security efforts. So that's what I think should do. And also the Palestinian women struggles the most in the world, because I think that the conflict is for decades. So that's what we need to do, and we need to teach the women peace and how to work to achieve the peace.
Thank you, Marwa.
Thanks.
I mean, we will stay with you because, you know, most people look at the conflict in the Middle East as black and white. There is Israel and there is the Palestinians, and the two do not meet. But, you know, it's not the case. And in fact, that collaboration between Women of the Sun and Women Wage Peace is recent, but it's an example of things that people in the outside world don't really see and maybe don't understand. So can you maybe explain a little bit why the Women of the Sun and Women Wage Peace decided to start collaborating now? What are the advantages to your organization, and what do you expect in the future?
Okay, I think first that we are living together since forever. So I think that we need to find a place to live and to understand each other. I know that there are many difficulties, especially the wars. And, you know, when my children and sees only the soldier and everything, no, there are another people that living behind the wall that we need to know. There are kind people and helpful people. So we need to teach each other and learn from each other who is living there, who they are, what they believe, what we believe, and find a point that we really live together in peace, in like a peace world, and we have no conflicts, nothing else behind, like living together, because that's what is going now. But we need to teach our children, not only us. The small kids should know that there are peace, there are people that you can know, you can work with, you can study with, you can live your life with. So that's our point, and that's what we want to achieve in the future. We don't just think that Israeli people is the soldiers who are raising, you know, the guns in front of our faces, or who is in the checkpoints. No, there are people that really want to have peace and want to live together and want to have, you know, more than just conflicts and wars and blood and wars. We need to live. We need to have our children to feel safe, and we can't let them feel safe unless we are living together and find a place that really safe for them. Maybe for me, I have, you know, more wars than my kids, but hopefully tomorrow we will have no wars. We will have only peace, and we can work together and live together. And that's what we want, and we are working through. And I think that Women Wage Peace and Women of the Sun is really a nice model of what will happen tomorrow, because we meet many times, our children meet their children, and we can work together, and we really appreciate it. And it was an excellent for us experience for working together. So hopefully in the future that will have, and we are a small community that tomorrow we hope it will be all the country together like that.
Thank you, Marwa. That's beautifully said. Maybe Hyam, if you can add something to that in terms of, do you think that this kind of a collaboration will lead in the end to more durable peace in the Middle East?
I say that you are absolutely right in saying that. I mean that the collaboration together with the Women of the Sun and these meetings and events which we are doing together with the Women of the Sun and the Women of Women Wage Peace, I think they are opening gates of understanding, gates of comprehensibility, gates of dialogue. And as Marwa said, you know, the Palestinian women till now just knew the soldier and the walls. Now, when they met, I saw them when they met in Jaffa, and when they met in Acre, and when they met everywhere here, to see the kids playing together, to see that women sit together and talk, nothing as two friends, and that their kids talk, that there are women smiling and laughing and hugging and opening their arms. I think something happened to them. No, Israel is not just soldiers and walls. There are also people over there that they are opening their heart to us, and this made a change. And these meetings also for both sides, and for the Israeli people, when they saw these Palestinian women, they are not the mothers of the terrorists. They are mothers who have sons, who raise their sons in order to live. And these stereotypes and prejudices are falling down, and we are meeting as just women and as mothers. And as Reem always says, that we are together with a call, with even a shout, that we as mother, we don't want any more wars. We want that, I always say it and re-say it, we want that our children lives enough wars. In these 70 years, we had more than 10, 12 wars, I don't know. It's enough. We can't continue living in this stress and this frustration and this feeling that there will be another war. No, we don't want that to be again. And this is why I think as with this collaboration, this meetings together is going to open gates, and it's going to really bring something new, which wasn't never here in the Middle East, and between these two people that I really love and I cherish, and I want them to come together, because if there will be something new, if there will be peace, I think as an Arab Palestinian, I will feel in the clouds, because then I will be relaxed. I will say, wow, we did it.
Inshallah. Vivian, assuming that you succeed and peace is achieved, do you think it's less likely to fail because women help to achieve it?
Well, research shows around the world that conflicts in which women have been involved in resolving those conflicts are more durable than those conflicts that have been negotiated only by men. So that's what the research says. But beyond the research, just listening to Marwa and to Hyam, and I've heard them before, it still melts my heart. And my great hope is that the Jewish majority here in Israel would be exposed more and more to Marwa and Hyam's messages, because we have spent so many years demonizing the enemy. And Marwa and Hyam, both as an Arab citizen of Israel who is always demonized, and the Palestinian as the enemy, listening to them humanizes the conflict. It says you don't have to choose sides. You can be pro-Palestinian and pro-Israel as long as you're pro-peace. And that's what the message is. That's what the collaboration is all about. And I just pray that outside forces do not destroy the beautiful thing that we are succeeding in building. And we need more and more people to see those messages.
Indeed, I think you have built a beautiful thing. So let me go back to you, Marwa, and ask you, what can people in the Middle East and around the world, what can they do to help women of the Sun? And perhaps later on, we'll ask him and Vivian what people can do to help women wage peace. But I think, what can we do, in fact, to help this collaboration that you have put in place? The Palestinians and Israelis.
I think that women can be found, but not always seen. And also, especially in the local conflict, and especially in the Middle East area, women is not seen. So what we want to do is to be seen, to believe in us, to believe that we can make change. I believe that there are many women organizations, but I don't think that there are only a few organizations that really needs to work and to develop themselves together with the Israeli people. So I think that we need to focus that living together is what we need. We need to be recognized together with the experts, and we need, to help us with knowledge and to raise what we know, and also to find a place that we can meet together to achieve what we want, because it's so hard to find a place that we really feel safe, that we can meet together, we can work together. We need also to improve the women economically, also emotionally, because there are many women that have trauma, many women that are not economically dependent. They are dependent on what men gives her, so that's make her weak. She doesn't raise her voice against her husband or her son or any man in the family, because who gives her money? It's the men. So we need to work for the woman to improve her economically, to be independent, and that's our point. So if you want peace, we need to make women really independent economically, to improve her, to give her the voice against the men, against the community that she lives in. That's what we want, and hope that everyone can help us to achieve what we need.
Well,
Thanks.
I hope that in a small way, this talk can help spread the word, as you said. Vivian, what would you like to add? What can people do to help this collaboration and maybe
Well, the
help?
very, very first thing is for you all right now to sign our joint mothers call that is on your website. That would be very helpful, because we're trying to get 4 million signatures. So if each one of you sign and get 20 of your friends and family to sign, that would be a great help. In addition to that, join our Facebook page of women, worldwide supporters of Women Wage Peace, and then you can follow. You can follow us and hear what we are doing and give us direct feedback. Follow us on social media and share news about our actions and activities to your colleagues. Sign up for our newsletter that goes out in English, French, and Spanish, in addition to Hebrew and Arabic. Tell your colleagues about our existence. People don't know that in this turbulent area of war and more war and more war, there are people like us that are doing everything possible to end the conflict. That will spread hope as opposed to despair over our present stalemate. And suggest that missions from your respective countries visiting our region meet with each of our movements, both in Bet Jala to meet with Women of the Sun, and here in Israel to meet with Women Wage Peace. Help with exposure of our respective movements in national and local media. And of course, there's always the contribution of funds to each organization that can help us sustain and grow our activities.
Yeah, well, I think perhaps Hyam, would you like to add to that?
I would like to say that now, today, for instance, Montpellier called us to know our news about Women Wage Peace. And I saw the women, how they looked at us and how they appreciate what we are doing. What I'm going to say that need the support and influence of all the women of the world. So, and what they asked me, they asked me this question, what can we do for you? So I told them, do you know, I have an idea. Maybe we will have a party here of you from Women Wage Peace. And they told me, wow, it's a very good idea. So if everywhere in every city, there will be a branch of women who will stand by us, who will support us from abroad, who will call our call, and together, all the women of the world will be together in order to shout enough, not here, we don't just here have war, all over the world now is crazy. You want to bring back the knowledge, we want to bring back, let's say, shfiyut. I forgot this word because I talk French, English. Yes, we want that people comes again and say that there is another word. Women and men were not born in order to make war. War is not a woman's game. So we have to start thinking otherwise in order really to bring life to the Middle East. And I think that this is what Women Wage Peace and Women of the Sun together are trying to do. And I think, I'm sure, maybe with the time you are going really, really to succeed.
Yeah, I have to say that just listening to you three extremely strong women gives me a lot of hope. Manuela, do we have any questions that we need answers to?
Yes, indeed. We have some very interesting questions. And particularly, I will start with one topic that was raised by two participants here. I will join their questions and comments in one. Both Mohan and Georgios from Fox, who is our partner at Greytalk, both of them have a question specifically for Vivian, but I think it applies to our three speakers anyway. They would like to know what are the reactions from members of the Knesset or the political landscape in general regarding the advocacy that is coming from women, such as what you presented here, regarding inclusive peace. And more specifically, do women movements such as yours have the support of women politicians? Because many times women all over the world, I mean in general, join official political ranks through parliaments or whatever it is, and then they start promoting masculine, quote unquote, sort of traditional behaviors and attitudes, maybe because they would like to demonstrate that they deserve to be members of the masculine political landscape? Question mark. Over to you, but I have other questions also.
Wow, okay. Yes, I think the analysis was right on spot, that many of the women members of Knesset try to outdo their male colleagues by being more aggressive and more violent in their speech than the men themselves. And that's been very discouraging. And that's why I said specifically in my point about women politicians, that it's not just a gender thing, it's also an outlook thing. We need a feminist perspective that is not out to get a zero-sum game, but to do a win-win, reach a win-win situation. And because women as mothers have so much experience in family negotiating within their family, we believe that those negotiation skills, as opposed to the violent dialogue of shaming and blaming, is the kind of women that we need. We have a long way to go. I think it's true for women all over the world, and it's no less true of us here. How are we responded to in the Knesset? It's very interesting. When we are there, when this Knesset is in session, we're there once a week in the plenum. We're all dressed in white and turquoise, and there can be 100 of us sitting in the plenum and in the gallery up on top. And no member of Knesset, no matter what party they're from, will start their presentation without turning around and acknowledging our presence there. So that's something that really gives us encouragement. Pass on to Hyam and Marwa. Hyam, you're on mute.
Esther, I have two other questions, very interesting, but they're not related, but I will raise both of them anyway. The first one comes from China. We have our network of Chinese students that is also included in our Greytalks very often, and this one comes from Naomi Lai Ting, and she asks a global sort of question. She says, how can we help women around the world, for instance, to support what is happening in Iran right now, protect and to help the women and girls in Iran and to raise global awareness about women's rights and women issues? That's one question. And the other one comes from Marsha, and it is specifically addressed to Marwa, but again, I think it can be addressed to our three speakers. How the movement Women of the Sun can have connections, can have contacts with the Palestinian Authority, and she's specifically asking if there was any sort of meeting with particularly Abu Mazen or other members of the Palestinian Authority to discuss the mother's cause and what you are doing in general.
Marwa? Maybe I could say something till Marwa comes. Would like to say that we are always in touch with the Committee of Interaction, which is the right hand of Abu Mazen over there. And whatever we do over there is accepted and is blessed. So I think that the Palestinian Authority, as you know, Abu Mazen all the time gave his hand in order, he wants to be a partner. And I don't know why they didn't accept that, but I think the feeling and the step of the son of the woman of the sun, I think is very acceptable, because if they don't have the appreciation and the acceptance, they couldn't do anything, because over there is a patriarchal regime, and you know that man don't want to be this movement, she wants to go there. So I think slowly something is changing, and I think that we have this committee of interaction with the right hand of Abu Mazen, which is giving us their blessing to do all our events. Every event that we wanted to do, we talked with them, and they gave us our blessing, and they have even the phone number of the mayor of Jericho, of wherever we went, in order they accept us and give us all we needed over there. So if Marwa wants to add, where is she? I'm sure that we talk the same thing, because we are always in connection. We always talk together. We always have events together, and this is what can I say?
Yeah. Hi, thank you. I'm sorry for the disruption due to the internet connection. But yes, I really appreciate what you said. You said it exactly what I want to say, that, yeah, we are working slowly, but I think that Abu Mazen is a peace person, because he works with us and he approves for all our what we want and what we do, and we can meet and do everything we want. And if there is a problem, we couldn't help, different activities and meet and doing workshops, and we are working in the future with the workshop activities with Israel and Palestinian women. So I think, yeah, we have no problem in this way, and I think the problem is due to the people who want to participate in what we are doing. That's what, but not, we don't have any problem in meeting or doing our activities together. Thanks.
I do not have any new question for now, Esther.
Okay. I think maybe then we can sum up what we heard today, which I think personally to me was very encouraging. I think we all have concluded that peace is more than the absence of war. And as Marwa very nicely put it, peace means that we ensure human rights. Peace means that we have governance, that we have health and education, that we support nonviolent conflict resolution, and that we ensure that everybody has access to health, education, economic empowerment for women, etc. But what is very clear from what the three speakers said is that to build peace, we need to have a culture of peace. It's not just enough to say we will sit down and negotiate. And I think what Women Wage Peace and Women of the Sun do, what these two organizations do, is together build a culture of peace in the region. It will take some time, but I think that's a very good first step. Again, what I could conclude listening to the three speakers is that women are important. They should be seen, they should be empowered, and we should recognize their important role. Without it, we will not be able to achieve a durable peace. So the only conclusion that we can perhaps tease out of it is really to ask ourselves whether we are investing enough in women's organizations in light of the important role that they play in building peace. Yes, Manuela.
Yeah, can I take advantage of the fact that I have the floor and the mic to ask a question to our three speakers, and well, anybody who would like to intervene? I think that you all are mother and maybe grandmother, as I am, probably. Mm-hmm. And so I would like to ask if in your own personal experience, when you look backwards and you look forward, do you see changes? Do you see an evolution in the culture of peace that was just mentioned by Esther, from one generation to the other one in your own family with your own children and grandchildren and maybe your relatives in general? Is something changing or is it still the same?
I want to tell you something, what my grandchild, what my granddaughter, who is 10 years old, says when they tell her, where is your grandma? She tells them, my grandmother is going to make peace. And I think that for me, it's so, and they say also, we are the grandchildren of Women Wage Peace when they ask them. So for me, if it starts with my family and with my grandchildren and with my my environment, and everyone knows me always, you know, with my white and turquoise and in the Facebook and everywhere talking about changing the situation, I think this is a start. I think this start, and I believe in that. Everything starts in the family. If it starts in the family, it could be spread everywhere. And this is what really what's happening with me.
Thank you. Esther, over to you. I do not have other questions.
Okay. I think
I have a lot of support and positive comments. Yes.
Thank you.
I think that's something, as I said, this is what we have to ask ourselves, whether we as human beings and as women among us, I mean, we have women and men, I mean, but men as well, are we given enough support to these organizations? Because the role of women as peace builders is, to my mind at least, extremely important. So we need to think about what we can do to help. And I see in the chat comments that some people already started disseminating the mother's call. So that's very, very positive. And anything else that will come out of this talk in terms of support to the efforts, wonderful efforts you are making, in terms of changing the culture, because the culture needs to change. The perceptions need to change, and you are doing it. You are beginning to change it from within the family, as Manuela pointed out. You start with yourself, and then your wider community, and as well as the government. You are trying to change all that. So anything that can be done to help you change perceptions and change the culture so that we will support a culture of peace, I think that will be wonderful. So
there is one last question from Georgios. Could these women groups do something for the war between Ukraine and Russia?
Yeah. I I will let them answer it, but I think just again from my knowledge and experience, the Women Wage Peace looked at the book of women in Liberia and how women in Liberia achieved peace, and I think they learned a lot from that. They had interactions with Lema Boye, who is a Nobel Peace Laureate, who from Liberia, and I think when women's organizations do something that is positive, yes, the experience can help. Because right now I don't see women who negotiate for peace or do anything in Ukraine. But anyhow, over to you, Vivian, Hyam, or Marwa.
Well, I would say about the Ukraine and Russia, certainly I can say personally, my heart is with the women on both sides. And it behooves us all to support these victims of a terrible, terrible, terrible war. I would say that our conflict here is quite overwhelming. So we have our hands full in what we're doing with each other. But if you're asking if for the sympathy, yes, our movements have tremendous sympathy for women all over the world, including the women in Iran that someone else mentioned in the chat.
Mm-hmm. Hyam or Marwa, anything you would like to add?
No, but my heart also is thinking of what's happening over there. I have a nephew and I have cousins over there also, and I hear what's going over there. And just we just have to pray. We can't do anything. I don't know if we can do nothing. We send them all our prayers, but actually, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what we can do to them.
Well, actually, Georgios has an excellent practical suggestion, is to sharing the know-how with the women on both sides in the case of Ukraine and Russia, maybe in any other conflict around the world. I mean, to create a sort of technology that develops the culture of peace that concerns the generations that we have around us, the future generations particularly. And then, of course, it will be a slow process, but maybe something will come out of it.
Of course, of course, of course. We should reunion, all the women of the world should reunion together and say, war is not a woman's game. And we are population, even 51. If we all stand up and shout with a loud voice, I think we can change and we will be the changer, the game changer of the future. This is what I believe, and this is what I think we should do together all over the world. And really thank you once more for giving our voice loud and that everyone will hear what we are doing. And we need plenty of women to be with us in order really to change.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we had the opportunity to listen to the three of you. And that's maybe even the recording of this talk is one step ahead, because the information can be disseminated. It can be brought to the knowledge of women. It's not just Ukraine and Russia, but other conflicts around the world, so that they learn from you and see how the collaboration can actually develop when women put their mind to it, that we can do something to create a culture of peace. It's a long way ahead of you, but I think it can be done, and it will be good to disseminate the information. So I'm glad that Greycells will have the opportunity to help in a small way.
Really, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
Alejandro, can I ask you to close?
Yes, of course. Thank you very much, Esther. This is the second great talk that I had to excuse myself for being a man. It's really admirable what you are doing as women and the impact that women can have in something that is essential for living. Thank you very much, Esther, for organizing this great talk. And thank you very much, Vivian, Marwa, and Hyam for a very inspiring exchange. That is not only an exchange, that these are not only words. Hearing you, we know that there are actions that are following. These are actions that could be followed by many. I know that I'm speaking on behalf of all Grey Cells, and we wish you well. We wish you all the success that you deserve. We wish you all the success that Women of the Sun deserves, that Women Wage Peace deserves, most of all, the success that your people deserve. We hope that these measures will go viral. We're going to contribute in Grey Cells to do it as much as possible. And thank you very much for a great talk.
Thank you.
Take
Thank
care,
you.
safe,
Thank
keep
you.
in touch.
Thank you.
Goodbye,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.